There's another new track out today from Endless Thread. It's called Lashing Through the Minutes, and I just thought I'd go through the production of it again, like I did with Heal These Wounds, and talk about how I built it and what I was thinking as I was building it. Every month here in Sweden, they test the public warning system. There's this thing called Hesa Frederick, and they basically play scary noise that's played over loudspeakers that the whole place can hear. And the first time I heard it, it frightened me. But then I found out what it was, and I was trying to record it into a song. So it happens the same time every month. I think it's like 3 o'clock on a Friday or 3 o'clock on a Monday or something. I can't remember. But I planned for the day it was going to come, and I went out with my trusty Sony tape recorder and this pretty cool microphone. That's a stereo mic. It's got 2 XLRs. And I waited for it to happen, and then it came along, and it sounded like this basically. Where is it? It's up here. So it's like, end of the world type shit, but the thing is, that actually sounds like this normally. It's kind of like a saxophone, a little bit. It's just below the F note, which didn't quite work for the track, so I took it into Beloved. This is how it sounds without Melodyne in it. You can go free jazz kind of vibe, sort of Discord and stuff, but I wanted to tune it, so just got it in there to introduce the song. It's like a big trumpet intro, and I layered it up with some. It's like I put a lot of tape stuff on this. This track has a lot of tape stuff, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I stuck a bit of tape. What do you call it? Ambience. So this kind of stuff. Just to give it a bit of texture. I did a lot with the drums on tape as well, but I'll talk about that in a second. So that was basically just to introduce the track, a bit of texture, and then the piano hook is it's a really roomy piano that I recorded with a ribbon mic. Leads you into the track quite nicely. I like that melody where it kind of goes boom, 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 boom. It feels like somebody opening up a door. Come on inside, in the middle of a nightmare, behind enemy lines. Love is faint, but it's still there, and it will save us in time. The vocals here, I think I was listening to the Mark Knopfler, James Taylor song Philadelphia a bit around this time, so I think it has a little bit of that dad rock vibe going on. It's got nice guitar played by Matty B. He always adds his little bit of Matty B. You know his guitar playing. This is nice, the little fill. Adding a bit of depth to it. Like I was saying, the drums are quite tapey, right? So I did a lot of layers of drums. You can hear the tape that. So that's drums lashed into that tape recorder, that Sony tape recorder thing, and then replayed in. But a handy tip I can give you now that I learned the hard way is that if you're using tape, especially for, I think these are the drums without, there's tape stuff in there too. And then of course you have Paul. That's Paul Kenny on the drums. Tight as anything. Adding a bit of room to them. But my tip, So if you're recording drums sound great through tape. In fact, everything sounds great through tape, if you ask me. But if you record onto tape with drums, and then so it's like a 2-stage process normally. So you basically, well, it was for me in this. So I got the drums down, then I lashed them into the tape with full saturation on, and then recorded the tape back into the DAW to layer them up. But there's a major problem with that, is that even if your tape machine, which mine here, this Sony again, where is it? Even if your tape machine has really kind of stable heads, if it's a 2-track tape machine and you're re-recording it back in to your DAW, you're going to lose time. Time is going to go out on you big time. So it's great for stuff like pads or stuff that's not transient. It's brilliant for that. But if you want to do transient stuff and keep it tight, the best way to do that, as I discovered, is to use a 3-head tape machine. So what that means is you can actually monitor the sound you're listening to as it's going into the DAW. So you can send it through the tape machine and monitor from the tape heads. And basically it's much more in sync than trying to replay in a 2-headed tape and try and sync it up. It's an absolute pain in the ass. So I got myself a very cheap 3-head Denon tape 3-head tape machine, and it's brilliant. It basically means that I don't have to go through the painstaking process of redigitizing way out of time tape, basically. So that's cool. So that's a tip. So is in the air, lashing through the minute. This was I like this thing a lot when it leads into the second verse. It's a DRM, you know, the Vermona DRM drum machines, through delay. That's tape delay, I think. It sounds like a lot of insects. It kind of reminds me of the William Burroughs movie where the typewriter turns into an insect. So the drums are all built up of all that sort of stuff. There's loads of drum stuff on it. And bizarrely for this one is there's only one bass track on this. So well done to David Odlum, because I don't know why I didn't do more than one track, but it sounds really dirty. It's got a bit of a dub thing going now. Boom, boom, boom. Boundary stars, you never feel it when you're in it. How beautiful you are. The synths on this one are weird because I just wanted something kind of spacey for the second verse. And I remember that was the time when Ableton came out with that hybrid reverb that they have. And I basically just went to town on that. And I think it's just an OP1. Like, I think around the same time the hybrid reverb came out, Teenage Engineering did the firmware for the old OP1s that you could actually just take the audio from over USB. So I think I just basically lashed that through for the second verse, just to give it a lift. Stars, you never feel it when you're in it. How beautiful you are, but you see it in a photo taken years ago. Wound up potential and a beauty you did not know. Grace is in the air. This is like another simple song, to be honest with you. And what maybe the challenge with this one was to sort of make something a little bit slight, because a lot of times I tend to overcomplicate stuff, and maybe just not let the initial idea just breathe, and let that be enough to carry the song. So with this one, I wanted to sort of keep a sort of slightness with the track, but also give it enough depth with the textures and the layers to make it more interesting on repeat listens, I suppose. but also to keep that. So with this one now, whenever I listen to it, I can listen to it once and really like it, but I can't really listen to it twice because I can only listen to it so often because I've listened to it so many times. But then we go into the middle 8 here, and there's a really nice thing in this middle 8. I had an Ovation Peak synth which I sold, and I'm sad I sold it because it was great. It's a really nice poly synth. And I missed it when I was doing overdubs on this track. So I have an old Ambica Mutable Instruments Ambica synth, and I just took it out, and it's actually a really good synth. I mean, they're this is it for the middle 8. It's just lovelyly out of tune. You can hear it in the background there. Something I've realised as I get older as well is sometimes your synths don't need to be in tune. In fact, a lot of times it's very nice if they're nicely out of tune, because it gives it an imperfection and a depth that is quite emotional. Imperfection is very good in my opinion, but it has to be the correct type of imperfection that you need to decide and you need to curate as an artist, I suppose. But when you get it, it feels it's just beautiful, like the sadness in it. And if it was in tune, it wouldn't sound half as good. The other thing I love about this middle 8 is, again, the Ramona DRM was doing this kind of almost like oh no, sorry, that's not it. Sort of like congas. The great thing with the Ramona DRM is all of the there's no savable parameters. It's all analog, and you just twist knobs basically. So I just programmed in a little 2-bar beat and then just played it. It slowly rises. This is just me just twisting the pitch. And what I really love doing is when I'm doing a build, is to build and then just when it's supposed to come back in, just hold off for a little bit extra long. I think it's cool. So you can hear here it's where it should come back in. Boom, should come in there, but just hold it off for a second. That's like the OP1 there, and I remember I was listening to this guy called The Caretaker, who just does these weird loops, kind of like the music from The Shining, and it's kind of nostalgic sounding, and I think that this was me trying to get that similar world. And then I had the peak at this stage and put that at the end. Similar to the Ambica sound we had earlier. And I suppose then the last thing I'll talk about is just in the breakdown with the tiny bit vocals. This middle 8, there was just a tiny bit true. I actually thought it was a bit cheesy, and I took it out, and then I just really missed it, so I put it back in. And I did some harmonies through amps, and I also stuck where is it? Must be a here, yeah, these. It's a little bit, just a tiny bit true. Oh, it's a little bit. Just reamped it, stuck it through an amp, and put it through a phaser pedal to give those vocals a different tone to the rest of the mic, or the rest of the song. Sorry. It's a little bit, just a tiny bit true. Oh, it's a little bit, just a tiny bit true. Oh, it's a little bit. So yeah, so that's Lashing Through the Minutes. It's out today. It'd be great if you could stream it and request it on the radio and pre-order the album and buy tickets for the gigs that are coming up. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll talk to you soon.